The Pittsburgh Steelers versus the Cincinnati Bengals. This is who's in, who's out, and everything you need to know about this game. So, the 8-3 Steelers go ahead and travel to Cincinnati to face the Bengals at home, who are 4-7. This game will take place tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, and it'll be at Pacor Stadium, the Bengals' home. But first, before I get more into it, make sure you subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications for everything Pittsburgh Steelers news and updates. Also, like this video. Now, let's get right back into it. So, this game will be a tough matchup for both teams because this game is really important. The Cincinnati Bengals just came off of a bad loss against the Los Angeles Chargers, and they're 4-7, so they need to start winning games and winning out to make the playoffs. And the Pittsburgh Steelers, they just came off of a bad loss to the Cleveland Browns, and they need to regroup, get back on track, and beat a divisional opponent in the Cincinnati Bengals, because right now their record in the division is 1-1, and they have a tough road ahead, so they need to get wins while they can. Even though their record is good, they're in a good playoff position right now, they need to start stacking more wins. So, looking at the injury report for both teams are dealing with some injuries heading into this game. So, let's look at who's in, who's out, and who's questionable for this week's game, who appeared on the injury report. And I'm going to start off with the Pittsburgh Steelers. So, you look at the Steelers injury report, and on Friday, Corey Trice Jr., he was limited in practice with a hamstring injury, and he's officially ruled out for this week's game. And you look at Alex Highsmith, he was also limited in practice throughout the week. He is doubtful for this week's game, listed on the injury report. You look at Montravius Adams, who has been dealing with a knee injury, has missed the last 6 weeks. He was limited in practice this week. He's officially out for this week's game. Those are the 3 players who are out or doubtful who appeared with a game status. The rest of the guys who appeared on the injury report, like Isaac Seumalo, Cameron Hayward, Larry Ogunjobi, DeMonte KZ, Keanu Benton, even though they all appeared on the injury report, they're all good to go. So those 3 are the only people who are doubtful and out for this week's game. Other than obviously the players who are injury reserve and have been on injury reserve all season, which are a lot for the Steelers. So now looking at the Cincinnati Bengals injury report, you look at the game statuses for them. Their offense tackle, Orlando Brown Jr., with a fibula injury, is listed as questionable for this week's game. Wide receiver Charlie Jones with a groin injury is doubtful. Defensive tackle Sheldon Rankins with an illness is questionable for this week's game. And linebacker Logan Wilson with a knee injury is out. Those are all the players with game statuses and who are questionable and out for this week's game for the Bengals. But obviously there's other players who appeared on the injury report with Joe Burrow, wrist injury, T. Higgins. You look at BJ Hill, you look at Amarius Mims, Logan Wilson. Those players appeared on the injury report as well, but they will all be cleared and ready to go for this week's game. So that's the injury report for the Steelers and the Bengals heading into this week's game. And now let's talk about the actual game being played on the field. So, like I said, this game is really important. Even though it's a divisional matchup and the Steelers look like they're going to make the playoffs, the Steelers sit at first place in the AFC North right now. So they have a tough road ahead in terms of matchups, facing all divisional opponents and some other good teams like the Eagles and the Chiefs. So if they start losing these games, they will no longer be first place in the AFC North. And if they want to be first place in the AFC North, then they need to start winning these games and facing Cincinnati, who is coming off of a bad loss and who need to also start stacking wins if they want to make the playoffs. This should be a tough matchup because the Bengals, as we say here right now, are 10th place and they need to get a 7th. They need to get a 7th, 8th place in the conference standings, so they need to start stacking wins and winning these games as well in order to make the playoffs. It'll be a disappointment if they don't make the playoffs, so they need to start winning out. And it starts this week against the Steelers, but the Steelers need to keep first place in the AFC North and maybe even first place in the conference if stuff go their way with losses with Kansas City and Buffalo. That's more unrealistic, but they need to start winning these games and winning out in order to secure first place, whether that's conference or the division. So this is important. And like I said, looking at this game, it's always tough because it's a divisional matchup. Now, there's even more stakes on it for both teams with stuff on the line. When you look at what's being played on the field, the Steelers' offense is not really that good, but they're going against the Bengals' defense, who are not good at all. And then you look at the Bengals' offense, who is extremely good. It's going against the Steelers' defense, who's extremely good as well. So it's really the high point of the Bengals going against the high point of the Steelers, and then the low point of the Steelers going against the low point of the Bengals. So it should be an interesting matchup. But looking at each perspective from each teams and what they would want to do in this week's game, you look at the Steelers. They obviously want to start getting things going on offense after struggling the past few weeks. After putting back-to-back 30-point games, the Steelers have been struggling on offense. And they want to get back to running the ball, back to what the Steelers had been doing good in terms of play action passes off of the run, and also those deep shots to George Pickens, and actually complete them to other players as well. You look at Calvin Austin, he's been getting open. You look at Mike Williams, he needs to start playing more. Van Jefferson, he's been playing in place of Mike Williams. Hopefully that switches. So maybe we see more Mike Williams in this week's game. Who knows? He's been on the team long enough. He should know the scheme by now. George Pickens, of course, he's been the star of this team. And then, like I said, Pat Freiermuth, Darnell Washington, they've been involved in the play action game. So that's what the Steelers want to do. Run the ball, play action off of it, and hit those moon balls and those deep shots on the outside. They don't really work that much of the middle of the field unless it's more underneath. But maybe they could start doing that more as well. And then the Steelers defense, TJ Watt said they're trying to find more ways to scheme him open in terms of a lot of teams that are throwing a lot at him this season. And they want to see a way if he could get more to the quarterback and to help the team in any way possible. That's what they're trying to work on. Well, obviously, what they need to work on in this week's game is their pass defense. The Bengals' run is okay. It's good. But pass defense is what's going to help the Steelers win this game because of Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Joe Burrow, and all those playmakers on the outside for the Bengals. So the Steelers defense needs to stop the pass of the Bengals and also slow down the run of Chase Brown. So that's the key to the game for the Steelers. Play really good pass defense and then run the ball and score points on offense. They need to score a lot of points in this week's game, I believe, if they want to match up with the Bengals, who are high scoring but low scoring defense. So that's the key to the game for the Steelers. Now the key to the game for the Bengals is to stop the Steelers' offense. You know the Bengals could score. They have Joe Burrow. They have one of the best offenses in the NFL. But their defense needs to stop the Steelers' offense. The Steelers' offense isn't good, so it shouldn't be that hard. But the Bengals can't stop anyone. So they need to be able to stop the Steelers if they want to win this game and continue playing how they're playing on offense in terms of scoring points. And they need to start scoring more points in the first quarter, the second quarter, and all through the game. And not just rely on the second half of the game like they have all season. And that's the key to the game for them. Score points throughout the game and not have to make a comeback. And also stop an offense who you should be able to stop. Even though the Bengals' record is not good, it seems as though they're always in games. The tough matchups against the Chiefs this season, the Baltimore Ravens, they low-key should have won those games, but they fell apart late. So they are a really good team despite their record, so let's see how this one goes. So that's the key to the game for both teams. Now let's look at a prediction. Who wins this game? Well, I posted a community tab on this channel between the Steelers and the Bengals, and it's a vote. So go ahead and vote on that. It's on this page on the community tab, and it's going to close by tomorrow. So go vote and see the percentages on who you guys think will win this game. It should be a close one. It shouldn't be a blowout by the Bengals. It shouldn't be a blowout by the Steelers unless something goes drastically wrong. And looking at this game, and hopefully the Pittsburgh Steelers pull it out and continue to keep first place in the AFC North. Hopefully the Steelers win this game. So that's it for me on this video. Go ahead and vote, but also let me know your thoughts down in the comments below on who do you think will win this game down below on this channel, on this video, and also who do you think will have the biggest part in win this game for the Steelers if they want to win, and what do you think the Steelers need to do on offense and defense to pull through. Make sure you also subscribe to this channel and turn notifications for everything Pittsburgh Steelers news, updates, highlights, analysis reports, and even rumors surrounding the Steelers. I've covered everything Pittsburgh Steelers so far this season, and I'll continue to do so. This is the best spot if you want to listen and watch Steelers news, not have to read it. So make sure you stay tuned to this channel, turn notifications for this channel, like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, I'll see you guys all later. I'm out. Peace.